Congressman Jim Bridenstine is a Republican from Oklahoma and is one of the lawmakers calling for new leadership in the GOP-led House, and he is my guest today. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me today. So what is the actual message of, I guess, 10 of you now who say that you are not going to vote for John Boehner?
Well, I think overall, when you think about the president's aggressive liberal agenda and his activism using the executive actions that you're talking about, there are a lot of Republicans who would like to have an opposition to that. And what happened in the lame duck with the CR omnibus, the Cromnibus, is we took off the table the power of the purse, which is our constitutional check when you have a very aggressive liberal activist president. And so we were pretty upset about the Cromnibus, and we made a decision that I made the decision myself.
Right.
Other people have now also added on to that decision that, look, we need new leadership. We need an opposition party. We need to make sure that we are providing the checks and balances that our Constitution allows us.
But with all due respect, Congressman, you need 28 to 30 votes. Right now you have 10.
Right. Well, remember, last year we had 0, and on the floor of the House there were 9 of us that voted for new leadership. So the reality is we're ahead of where we were last year, and I would say that that there are. You have seen the poll that indicates 60% of Republican. 60% of Republicans are looking for a new Speaker of the House. And I can tell you, if you come from my state of Oklahoma, it's much greater than 60%. It's the most conservative state in the union, as you would know. And so my obligation is to, number 1, the Constitution, and number 2, to represent my constituents. This is not a hard decision.
Who are you supporting then? Because Gohmert and Yoho have put their hats in the ring.
Well, I have said publicly I could vote for either Louis Gohmert or I could vote for Ted Yoho. It really isn't so relevant who you vote for. The reality is I think we need new leadership, and at the end of the day, we want to force a second-round ballot, and the way you do that is to make sure nobody gets 50%, which means if we have, as you said, 29 people vote for somebody that's not John Boehner on the Republican side, we can actually force a second ballot and come up with a consensus candidate.
So, you know, one of the criticisms of the Republican Party, specifically by Democrats, has been that it's fractured. Does this, going into the new season here with Republican-led House and Republican-led Senate, does it show fracturing within the party, or do you think it's for good for the party?
Well, no, I don't think it shows fracturing at all. I mean, if you look at what Republicans are saying publicly, and I'm not talking about the elected folks, I'm talking here in Washington, D.C., where the motivations are very different than the people back at home. The people back at home are very clear. They want a new Speaker of the House. I think having a new one would be very uniting, and I would support that.
All right. We'll see what happens. Hasn't happened since, I think, 1923, when it went to the 9th ballot for a change. We'll see what happens here. Congressman Bridenstine, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.